This is an international brand that is being built, modeled on the experience of my guest working with international brands and also working in regulations. So understanding the science and the technical dimensions gives you an added edge. So early in life, consider a career in these sectors so that you can be equipped to shine in these spaces. Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Mildred Ocran. Glad to welcome you to Ghana's foremost developmental program and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group with media support from the Multimedia Group and our friends at Graphic. So here I am today in a very good mood because I finally found a woman I've been looking for a while. So last December, I sat on United Airlines going to the US and I was served with one of my favorite snacks, Akwaaba Cashew. And just the fact that I was on an international flight and I had Ghana-made cashew packaged beautifully. First of all, in my suitcase to give to my friends I was going to and in my hands on the plane was a thing of beauty for me. When I got back, I called our friends at the Mastercard Foundation and said, Kafi, can you imagine they are serving Ghana cashew on an international flight? We just shouted on the phone. And I was wondering, why am I so excited? Do I even know who is behind Akwaaba Cashew? So at the recent Mastercard Foundation convening, I finally entered the stand and there she was, Mildred Akotia. Mildred, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable the story of knowing a product without knowing a person. But come to think of it, you buy milk, you don't know who's behind it, and so really, but congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to know that the world is consuming something that you thought about, designed, and packaged?
First of all, let me just seize this opportunity to say a very big thank you to you and to your team for giving me this rare opportunity. I know that there are a lot of discerning listeners and followers of your program, and I count it as a blessing to be here.
Amen.
And so it's rewarding and it's fulfilling to know that something that you had as a dream, something that you created with your hands, has got a lot of traction now, and people are going all wow about it, and it's going places. It's rewarding. I see the impact, the young people that we have on board on a team who are actually helping to produce it. It's rewarding. They're growing, personal development. It's rewarding. It goes beyond, for me, it goes beyond the product. And it's a very rewarding and fulfilling journey for me.
Tell me about dreams. When somebody says that the dream is coming true, then I get excited. Tell me the dream. How did it start?
It's a very passionate dream that I hold on to. So it all started from my travels to the UK. Typically, when you go to the developed world and their supermarkets, there's always an aisle that's dedicated to foods from the different parts of the world. And so in that aisle, you will find ethnic foods like Italian food, Chinese food, Indian food. And anytime I went to the supermarkets, it was an aisle that I would always visit just to take inspiration. And I stood there several times and asked myself, so really, where are the Ghanaian and African foods? There was very little representation or no representation at all. And so I said, but where is our shito? I think our shito will do very well here. It's a bestseller. It will rub shoulders with all the chili sauces from China and from India. I said, where's our gari? Because we have good products. Where is our plantain chips? I think all these are bestsellers that will do very well here. But unfortunately, there was very, very little representation of all these indigenous products. So I said to myself, one day, just maybe one day, when I come back home, I'll have a processing facility that will process. And one thing that I'm passionate about is innovative packaging because of the background I have. Okay, so my heartbeat is innovative packaging for indigenous foods. And once you give them very good packaging and very good branding, I believe that they can stand tall on any international shelves. So that was the dream. It felt like at a point when I came back, I didn't pursue it immediately, but it felt overwhelming. It felt like it was a calling. It felt I couldn't sleep. I had sleepless nights. My mind, even in my sleep, my mind was active.
Seriously.
And then I knew that no, there was a calling. There was a call to rise up and do something, because it had been a dream for so long, and I knew that I had to pursue it. And that's how the dream was born.
That's very inspiring. I mean, the part about the calling is, I love it when people
I
call.
mean, I see it as a calling. I mean, I wouldn't do any other thing. I actually wanted to do medicine. And it was medicine or nothing else. It was just medicine. But
You never use those words.
medical or suicide.
I think it's a Cape Coast thing. I mean, Wesley girls in fancy.
Yeah, medical or suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so bent on going to medical school and seeing myself become a pediatrician, and it was just that anybody who said any other thing was deterring me from getting to my dream. But unfortunately, I couldn't make it to med school.
Do you still think it's unfortunate?
No, where I sit now, from where I sit now, even if you give me a full scholarship, stipends and all that, I won't pursue medicine. I don't want it. So I think it was just God's own way of redirecting my passion and my purpose. So this is where I find myself now.
Beautiful story. So what annoyed you eventually became your motivation? Standing on the shelf of either Tesco, Morrison, any of the shops that you went to, Sainsbury's.
No way.
We should be here.
No way, we should be here. We have equally good food, nutritious foods. And the only thing that's really most of the time stopping us is good packaging and branding.
So you came back, didn't pursue it immediately, but you wouldn't go. Woke you up in your sleep several times and told me, what are you doing about this?
Yes.
So what was the turning point?
So it was a whole journey. I had to do a master's program in the UK in food production management. So this was a combination of food science and business management. And while
the first degree was in biochemistry.
My first degree was in biochemistry from the University of Ghana. And then after national service, I pursued a master's in the UK in the University of Nottingham. And I also had a chance to work at McVitie's, and it was a big factory where digestives and all the variants of digestives were made. Yeah, and hobnobs were made. Yeah. And I saw myself as a young woman, in a very huge food processing facility. And these were how, I started developing the love for food and food processing. So on my master's program as well, I got a chance to do my dissertation at Heinz. Heinz had at the time the biggest food processing facility in the UK, and they make baked beans and all the other Heinz products that we know. Right. So this was how my food journey began, and I saw myself loving food every day and loving innovative packaging and loving everything about food.
Recently on our X-Space conversation as part of our Ghana Growth program, we had a conversation about the need to mainstream entrepreneurial education at all levels in our institutions to provide people with the wherewithal to be able to venture into business. Yeah. You got the rare privilege of studying what you actually are doing. Yeah. And then, I wouldn't even say interning, actually working in world-class facilities that do what you do. Yeah. How beneficial has that education and that exposure been in doing things at the level at which you are pitching now?
So everything shows from the way we do things. Because I am a very technical person in food safety, food processing, because I also worked with the Food and Drugs Authority. And so food safety, food processing, cutting edge technology in food technology is my expertise.
You sleep, eat, and drink it.
I know. So it's a passion now. It's my life. It's my way of life now. And I believe that because of my training and my knowledge in the field, it makes me do things differently. And that is what, actually separates us from the rest.
Let me explore this idea of education a bit more. I was talking to my friend Araba Kumsin, who hosts Ghana Grows Ejuma, a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying it's just unbelievable how people are confidently now talking about their agribusiness journey compared to probably a year and a bit ago when we started this Ghana Grows program and other interventions that are throwing light on the beauty of agribusiness. So as we look back now at your life and how your education has given you an added advantage, in the field that you are in, would you subscribe to the fact that many more young people should explore education in areas that put them in a position to go into agribusiness?
I think by all means, yes. Because when you have actually studied it, you do things differently. You actually understand principles. There's a very big difference between somebody who really understands the principles of, doing, let's say, food processing, vis-a-vis another person who is doing it as a business. Okay, there's so many things that the other person who is just doing it as a business will take time. It will take a long time for the person to understand certain things. But if you're coming from a very technical background, you actually have, a roadmap. It's easier. And things are easier. You can coach the younger people, the team that you're working with. So things are far easier. And we can actually see from the products and services that come out of it that this is different. And it is different. It is different because there's an expert handling things.
Tell me, what are the critical success factors of a food processing business? What would you say that are the things that should be critical in there for the thing to succeed?
I think if you ask me, I would say quality. Quality is a word that is that's overly used everywhere. However, I think that people don't really understand what quality means.
What is quality?
For me and from where I'm coming from, quality is a whole management system. I mean, it's not just saying this is a quality product, this is a quality. I think that it's underrated when we use it like as jargons. Quality is an entire management system that ensures, number one, the safety of your consumer. So you should have the consumer at the back of your mind while you're putting things in place. So quality and safety is number one for your consumer, to protect your consumer. Number two, it's also a regulatory requirement by the state. You can't just get up and decide to produce food. If you cook at home, you can do it the way you want, and nobody cares about how you handle your food. But if you come out and you want to cook or you want to process or handle food in a commercial way, then definitely there are regulatory requirements. And so your quality systems will have to demonstrate that you are compliant in regulation. And then also your quality systems is also something that you use to demonstrate to an intending buyer. There's some buyers who actually are interested in how you do things, what's going into it before they actually go into any deal with you. So our quality systems is three-pronged. Is ensuring safety for the consumer, ensuring demonstrating to government and authorities that we are doing things well, we are handling things well, and also to buyers that we've got systems that are robust, that are resilient, and you can trust us. So quality really begins from the farm. You don't wait in your factory to have raw materials that do not comply or do not meet standards. If you get raw materials that do not meet standards, there's very little you can do to transform the raw materials. So quality starts all the way from the farm. And so for us, it is very, very essential for us in a supplier approval process to make sure that we are picking the right supplier to give us the right raw material. It is very critical. If your raw material is not right, there's very little you can do to transform it.
Give us a journey. Give us a journey. I mean, my lift. Take us all the way back to the beginning of the value chain. You talked about raw material approval. So I would presume that you work with outgrowers, and there's a selection process. What do you look for? So if somebody wanted to work with you, what would you look for? And how do you ensure that this quality that you have runs through at every level till the final destination?
Yeah, so we have a criteria to approve our suppliers, and we have a whole standard operating procedure for approving a supplier.
You sometimes think you are too flinching.
I think on one hand is a strength of my business, on the other hand is a weakness, because if you want to do things right all the time, it slows you down a bit. And if you want to do things right all the time too, it gives you the results. But then you have to find a fine balance between the two so that you're not too slow on the market, because I tend to, tick all the boxes. You go to the lab, you do this, you go here, you go. I mean, just to make sure everything is right before we launch a product. And sometimes I think it's a drawback. It's a bit slow as compared to what others are doing, because within a short time, others are able to just, I see this, I see that, I see a new product, I see a new product. I was like, how do you guys do it? How do you guys do it? Because there's a whole, there's so much work behind the scenes that need to be done. And how are people just releasing products left, right, center? I'm not sure how they are doing it, but we have to go through the process to get things done. And my focus is the long haul. It's not about the now. It's not about just introducing a lot of products. It's about doing things right, having control over your value chain, having control over your ecosystem, having control over your quality systems. And even if it's one or two products, you can beat your chest to it that, I'm doing things right and this will give me the results I need. So it brings on the right kind of customers and we are enjoying it.
I'll tell you what, I'm smiling as you talk because I was talking to a friend in the same seat who is into theater. And he says, at the last but one production, we announced our next production was going to be in 6 months' time. And we announced what it was going to be. And we started the grind, the meticulous. We had already started work, but continued the meticulous process. And then I went to watch another theater that I wouldn't mention. And I called my friend and said, this looked a bit shoddy. And it seemed almost like it just sprang from nowhere. It was announced, and in 3 weeks' time, it was done. Yeah. And I was sitting there saying, you know what? I see people clapping, but I'm still next to the audience, and I'm hearing the comments they are making. And so the superficial clapping is not an endorsement of the work. It's customary.
Yeah.
But listening to the comments on my left and my right, I left feeling that was an underserved audience.
Yeah.
So when the full 6 months was up, I went to watch that production that had been announced 6 months ago, and the difference was clear.
Yeah.
And just so it gives you a bit of comfort for sticking with the process, it ran over and over, and people would demand it full audience again and again and again. There's something to be said for the quality that you are advocating.
Yeah.
But you're saying that sometimes the cows are great.
I mean, you have to. Yes, the results are great, but I'm trying to find a fine balance. You need to have a good balance. Otherwise, you don't want to be too slow too. You don't want people to go. But then we do things right. Even though sometimes doing things right may not be the easiest, and but we try. We try to do
that's
that.
That's why you're on United Airlines.
Yeah, that's where we are, and that's where we are getting
are.
the kind of traction we are getting because we are serving a certain segment of the market that's very discerning, and they understand value. It's not really about how much is it. They understand the value, and they understand that cashews and other products that we make is for nutrition, is for health, and so they want it done well. So the least change in taste, you get feedback. The least change in texture, you get feedback. And so we cannot relax. It must be very well done.
Tell me about a typical day in the life of Mildred Akotia.
Okay, so Mildred juggles a lot. Sometimes I think I don't have a good work-life balance. Mildred juggles a lot. Mildred is a family woman. I've been married for 14 years
Congratulations.
to an awesome man, very supportive. I mean,
It's
I
one
don't
of
know
the
what I
critical
would
success
do.
factors.
Yes. I mean, if you don't have a support system at home, if you don't have a nod from the man who stands behind you, I don't know how far you can go. I mean, you can go. I don't know how far you can go. I mean,
Somebody said, marry the right person. Yes, however.
I know the right person gives you the right support, and there are times I'm not even home, but he takes care of the home.
Wow.
Yes,
Charlie,
so
endorsement.
so I say Akotia, hello. I know you will be listening.
Of course.
And I want to say thank you for being an awesome husband and a good friend. He's my best friend.
Wow.
A lot of times when I have, and which is very often when I have a lot to vent about. I mean, he's the one I vent to.
Oh.
He's the one I cry. He's the shoulder I cry on.
Wow.
Because he's my best friend. I mean, he's everything. So yes, I have that support system. I have three energetic children who keep me on my toes on a daily basis.
Wow.
And so early mornings, trying to get them for school, prepare them for schools and all that. And once they are all shipped off to school, then my professional life begins. And so you go to work. Before you go to work, there's a lot of issues waiting for you already. Quality issues, procurement issues, all sorts of things to juggle. So
Which is the most difficult one? Is it the people? Is it the
I
process?
think it's
Is it
human resource management, if you ask me.
That's what the experts say.
Everything poses a little bit of stress, but I think human resource management is my biggest.
How many families do you employ directly and how many indirectly? Have you thought about it?
Yes, I have. So these are people that I see growing on a daily basis. These are people who come in with no knowledge of food processing. You pick them up, you train them, and they get confident and they're doing it. And I'm happy. I mean, I have people on the team who've been with me for over 4 years, 5 years, and they have grown phenomenally. I mean, and I have somebody that I've actually groomed for quality, and she came as a secondary school graduate, not knowing her left from her right, but she was keen to learn, and that was the attitude. So you give them opportunities, and you see that they have good livelihoods. You see they have good incomes, and they can take care of themselves, support at home, and for me that's priceless.
Where's the facility?
So the facility used to be in Abelenke. We started the business in that, which is also an interesting one. When I started, I didn't have a place, and so I asked myself, what did I have that I could use? And fortunately, we had a 40-footer container just sitting fallow. So I remembered that, I mean, in the UK, I saw some construction sites that had cabin structures that hosted their offices, and it was temporary. I mean, after the project, they'll move it to another project. And I was like, okay, so if we could have cabin structures that people could use for offices, why not convert a 40-footer container into a processing facility? So that's what we did. And we started in Abelenpe, in a family home. And it's so interesting to know that we have been running the business since 2015 till this year in Abelenpe for 9 years.
Wow.
And we've only just moved to a new place 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is Springboard, your virtual university, and my guest is Mildred Akotia. She's the CEO of Akwaaba Fine Foods. And I get to have this conversation because I'm a big fan of their products, and I have been for years. And recently met her, and I say, wow, you know what? I want to hear the story of how a Ghanaian agribusiness venture can now have presence and clients in different jurisdictions, and how the younger person trying to do it, can learn from the joys, the struggles, the pain, and everything. In the second part of this conversation, I'm going to try to find out how much potential there is in cashew. I'll tell you about my journey to the Brong Ahafo region, why it could just be the hidden gold in this country. So, Mildred, was there a day when you sat up and said, you know what, I am so glad I am back on this journey?
Yes, I get these moments very often. Um, a lot of times, yes, there are lots of hurdles and all that, but aside the hurdles, it's like I said earlier, it's a very rewarding journey. So feedback it keeps us going. So I get people call and send photos. Whoa, I got served Akwaaba cashews on United and Delta Airlines. Whoa, is this how far you've gone? Like another person will say, I never knew such treasures existed in Ghana. This is beautiful, beautiful packaging. And we thought the packaging was good until we tried the content, and the content was even better.
Wow.
And, there was a time somebody called me and said, I realized that you're in a billing pay. I haven't had a time. I wanted to pass by, but I'm not calling to give you an order or anything. I'm just calling to let you know that there's something you're doing right. And we keep buying and we love it. Just keep it up. The person just called just to encourage. And a lot of times when these feedback comes, sometimes you're in your lowest moments.
Let's talk about the low moments. The low moments. We hear young people sometimes say that, listen, you guys, tell us the parts where you feel like giving up, so that when we go through those moments, we will know that we are real. Because when we hear only the good ones, it gives us the impression that the journey is always good. So when we hit the bump, we are like, what did I do wrong? Charlie, have there been days you've cried and felt like, you know what, who sent me? Let me just take my...
There are several, on a daily basis, entrepreneurship is just juggling and juggling and juggling. Sometimes I ask myself, so is there any time where it's going to be cruise control? Because I want to be able to cross my legs and enjoy, just enjoy. But it's just not coming. On a daily basis, there are things to juggle. So some low moments will be, you sit down and 2 years ago, the economy was very chaotic. Exchange rates were horrible, and the cedi was depreciating at a very, very fast rate. And there were price hikes all over. I remember a full bag of peanuts, that raw material, a bag of about 100 kilos that we used to purchase for 750 Ghana cedis, shot up as high as 3,000 Ghana cedis.
That's 4 times the price.
Yes, that is 4 times the price.
And you don't have the luxury of being able to transfer
and
that.
My point was, so at a point, it was all over. Prices of everything, cost of doing production, and the dollar rate was bad. And I sat down one day and I'm like, is this the end? Is this the end? Because how do I price from knowing that my peanuts, the bag of peanuts is 750, and now knowing it's 3,000? How do I price? How many people can afford it? There are kinky prices and rice prices, which are the staples, have shot up. When are they going to have their basic essentials and have a little left to have my products that have now been pushed into a luxury range, sort of, because the prices were just not making sense. I don't know how I survived, but one thing that keeps me going is that I'm a faith person.
Love that.
And that's all I hold on to. So I keep telling God, you called me. You called me into the great unknown. You called me onto the rage, on the waters. When you called me, it was very still. It wasn't raging. Now, at thy word, I moved. Now there are all sorts of things hitting against me. What do I do? And there's always that still small voice. And you don't know, you don't even know, you don't have the next minute figured out. You don't have the next day figured out, but you're just moving. And I told God that you said goodness and mercy shall follow me. It means I shall be moving. So I am moving. Let it follow me. So these are some of the things that keep me going. Another thing is, I feel like it's a very tough terrain doing business in Ghana. I haven't tried business any other place apart from Ghana, in any other place. But I think that enabling environment, it's not available and it's difficult to thrive. You need a lot of resilience to be able to push through. I mean, for small businesses, you go to work in the middle of processing, in the middle of nowhere, that there's power cuts. How do you expect small businesses to go and get power plants that are selling for the prices of like four-wheel drives to come and, operate our machines and operate our whole processes? I mean, this day and age, why should we have a setback like power cuts? And it's a very painful thing to think of. I mean, that enabling environment, I want to believe that it's not only all about money, but if that is very important, but we need some softness, we need some things to cushion us. I mean, why should I go to work and water hasn't flown for the past 1 week? I mean, and it's a food processing company and we want the water to be of a certain quality. And where do we get the water? So those enabling environment, like those little things to cushion you and to just allow you to thrive are not available. And that for me is a very stressful thing. And it's very frustrating for businesses. A lot of businesses are not able to go beyond 1 year or 2 years. A lot of businesses will fold, exchange rates, and I mean, it's chaotic sometimes.
This is Springboard, your virtual university. I told you so. I told you I wanted to meet this woman. And having met her, I'm even more convinced that it was the right step to fish her out of wherever she was to find out the secret behind Akwaaba Fine Foods. Mildred Akotia is my guest. She founded this amazing enterprise and she's just building it and doing incredible things. She's spoken to us about the education behind it, the inspiration behind it, the experience behind it, and if I may say so, the faith that backs her in those difficult moments when it's easier to run than to stand and fight. But there's also the mountaintop moments when you say, yes, this is what I always wanted to do. Yeah. Stand in Sainsbury's or Morrison's or any of those shops and say, yeah, we are here. I'm going to find out from her when I come back from the break whether she's ever gone back to those shops and did she see what she wanted to see and how did it feel. But this is Springboard, brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group with media support from the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. Let me share an enterprise advantage tip for you. Mildred says that many companies don't live to be 2 years old. And so when you find a company that's 100 years old, you want to find out what they did right. So from the Enterprise Group, the question for the day or the enterprise tip is inspired by the Funeral Finance Unlimited policy. They say, I don't wish for my relatives to die, but what happens after paying premiums for several years when I have no claim? So the response is that for this policy, you can choose a payment term of either 10 years or 15 years. And if nothing happens at the end of the selected term, you are entitled to 100% refund of your risk premium or have the option to leave the rebate and have all relatives covered for the entire lifespan. This is brought to you by the Enterprise Group. The number to call 030-263-4777 or email info@myenterprisegroup.io. Enterprise is your advantage. Let's go for the break. When we come back, what is in the cashew and how can it be explored, exported, and become the centerpiece of our agribusiness adventure as a country? Please don't go away.
Hello? Bye.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird is the word. Bird is the word. Well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is the word. Bird, bird is the word.
To consider the implications.
Hello? Don't you know? Well, everybody knows that the bird is the word.
Whether it's 1924, 2024, or 2124, we've always known that you are driven by your sense of safety and well-being. It is what drives us to see you through from start to finish, from small to big. And in the last 100 years, as you have evolved, so have we also expanded to serve you in many ways. From cradle to grave, with expertise in insurance, life, pensions, properties, health, and for those beautiful memorable goodbyes. It's 2024, and in all our markets, our pedigree is recognized, our strength respected, our expertise valued, and our solutions sought by all who desire an advantage in life. Experience the time-tested and truly trusted 100 years legacy of Ghana's oldest insurer. Take charge of your future now. Insurance, life, pensions, property management, funeral services, health insurance. Enterprise, your advantage.
This be me, Kobe, aka Kobe Boga, KB for short. And this is my sweetheart, Obahima. Today, I get big surprise for her. Charlie, gone are the days I couldn't spoil my girl. Now I'm engaged to the woman of my dreams. Don't just look at my success. To get here, I had to follow the process. Out of nowhere, I lost my job. But I believe in humble beginnings. I got an idea that I knew I could grow. I started from a small setup, then invested in growing my own coconuts. I then grew my product lines. Now, I sell to many supermarkets in the country. Fellow young Ghanaians, trust the process and keep hope alive.
Take advantage of agribusiness through the Ghana Grows program. Ghana Grows, Hope Day.
Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university, and to my incredible conversation with Mildred Akotia, the CEO of Akwaaba Fine Foods, as we explore the motivation that drove her into the agribusiness sector, and in particular, the incredible thing she's doing with Akwaaba Fine Foods. Springboard, a virtual university, is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group, with media support from the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Communications Group. Our big partner of this program is also the Mastercard Foundation, and the Ghana Grows program is an initiative that inspires young people to consider careers in agribusiness, ATVET sectors, and to confidently pursue opportunities in these sectors. This is one such venture that we hope will be an inspiration to that person who may be thinking, hey, Wesley girls, Cashew. But who will now know that this is an international brand that is being built, modeled on the experience of my guest working with international brands and also working in regulation. So understanding the science and the technical dimensions gives you an added edge. So early in life, consider a career in these sectors so that you can be equipped to shine in these spaces. Talking about Ghana Grows, if you'd like to find out more about these opportunities in these sectors, the number to call 030-825-5775, and that's our call center. Call and you will be guided on opportunities in the agri-business sector. Call or WhatsApp 030-825-5775 for support on how to navigate your way in these sectors. If you are a young lady and you require guidance from mentors who have gone ahead of you, that's also the number to call. And if you require counseling or psychosocial support, you are navigating your way, but challenge and easy. And you need someone to talk to who's equipped to guide you. That's also the place to go. So here we are with our teacups in our hands, having this nice conversation. And I'm holding, for those watching on television, I'm holding my favorite snack in the whole world, Akwaaba Charlie, it's a blessing. Oh. This is made in Ghana. It can match anything in Harrods. I'm telling you, this is real. And Mildred says the secret is in the packaging. I'm telling you. But she says when you open the package, the content
That's even better.
matches the package boot for boot. And I'm just excited to be celebrating something authentic, something Ghanaian. It says Akwaaba snacks, fine traditions, dry roasted cashew nuts, lightly salted. I'm just licking my lips, just watching the thing. Mildred, let's talk about cashew. How big is cashew? I was in the Bronx Afro region. I was in Sunyani last. Now we call it the Bronx region. I was in Sunyani the last year for a program. And in the conversations, the issue of cashew came up, and I couldn't believe the breadth, the size of the production of it. Tell me, how big is cashew, and what are the prospects that lie in it?
So the cashew industry has endless opportunities. Demand for cashew is growing at an astronomical rate, both locally and globally. And as we speak now, demand actually outstrips supply. So we are not actually processing enough to feed the world. Now, the opportunities are endless, like I said, and the demand is really driven by the fact that cashew is actually a very versatile, commodity in terms of its culinary uses. Okay, so there are different grades of cashews. We have the whole ones that are usually roasted. We have different grades like splits. Cashews just split into two. We have pieces. We have bits, baby bits, and even down to powder. So during processing of cashews, during primary processing, you have all these grades. And then the whole ones as well. Most of the time, it's the whole ones that are very popular in Ghana. Now, all these grades have different uses. The powders can be used for cereals. The powders can be used for baking. Some people approach me and they want to purchase cashews from us, and I tell them that you don't need whole cashews, which are premium, and they come at premium prices. If you're doing things like granola, you can use cashew pieces or cashew splits. I know people who are doing cashew milk. You don't need to use the premium, ones, which is the whole. So there's a whole world with cashews with different uses, and it makes it very versatile in catering.
I'm reading a research that says this. The market size is valued at 6,850 million in 2024, but expected to reach up to 10 billion in 2032. That's just in about 8 years' time.
Yes.
And it also highlights the health benefits of cashews. So the people that you think are consuming your products just for the taste of it are looking at things like weight loss, blood sugar control, and heart health.
Yes.
And it would seem from my enquiries that tiger nuts, cashews, any product that is naturally known for some of these benefits, people just buy them and they are happy to just consume them because they're nutritional and they also have health
because
benefits.
of the nutritional benefits, and knowing that what you're eating is actually helping your body, it is not junk. I always say that eat food that you can identify. Like you see this and it's cashews. It shouldn't be excessively processed such that you can't even tell what the origin is or what the raw materials are. But you see some of these natural products and you can easily identify them, and they are the ones that I would promote for people to eat. And we cut down on the very processed ones. Okay, so yes, for the nutritional benefits, cashew, we get calls from all over the place. People needing it in the UAE. People needing it in America, in the UK. The opportunities are endless, and it also has the entire value chain has all sorts of players. They are the people doing the production, who are the farmers, and now there are a lot of development partners that are actually, giving a lot of support and capacity building so that people will go into, cashew plantations, and there's a lot of capacity building going on. So one development partner like that is GIZ Cashew project that has now become Move. They are really championing the cashew, production of cashews and the trade of cashew, the marketing of cashew, and just creating awareness about how good it is. I mean, to consume.
There's often a tendency when people hear about a product and how well it's doing to say, there you go, I'm going to do that exact one. But you are giving the impression that along the entire value chain, there is opportunity. Yes. So that you can be in the actual production, you can be in the distribution.
Yeah.
And then even for the processing, you are showing us that it's not just the whole cashews that people know about, but there are bits, there are baby, there are real, there are powder.
Yes.
And all these are products that, if well researched into, could be international bestsellers, to borrow your word.
Yeah.
Let's go to your favorite area, food safety. I work with mining companies sometimes in my part-time life as a consultant. And I find that in the mining community, safety is huge. I mean, you can't have any conversation without there being a safety component, and they proudly showcase it as this is their baby, safety.
Yeah.
How big is food safety, and why is this such a big thing for you in particular?
Food safety is huge. I mean, it encompasses so much. If you sit where I sit as a food safety expert, safety is so much. I mean, it's a big management system. So safety will basically start by talking about management commitment. How management is committed to having a safe, safe products, and committing resources as well, and training and capacity building for the entire team so that we can produce safe food. So it starts with management commitment. And then it has several policies, like, the structure of the factory itself is part of food safety. The lighting, the fabric, the walls, your floors. I mean, there's so much to talk about when it comes to food safety and your factory, the factory itself. Now you talk about utilities in food safety as well. The utilities you're using, like water. How are you managing your water? How are you treating your water? It talks about your waste management. And waste management, you're talking about, so this is broad. Food safety is broad, and it touches on all these. So it touches on food waste management, and waste management is either your solid waste management and also your effluents, your liquid waste management, and how you're treating them and how you are keeping the environment sustainable. It's all part of food safety. It also talks about integrated pest management. In integrated pest management, we are talking about the fact that you don't necessarily need to apply chemicals all the time. Chemical application is a last resort. However, there are other policies and systems you put in place to make sure that your processing facility is free from pests, crawling, flying, all sorts of pests. And if you need to apply chemicals, it should be the last resource for sustainability of the environment and all that. Food safety also touches on it's a lot. Yeah, your standard operating procedures, which is very critical in the food processing industry. So every food company is required to have standard operating procedures, and these are a set of guidelines that show the team, or for whatever activity that needs to be carried out. These are a set of guidelines that shows you what to do. Put 5 grams of water in 2 grams of this, and do this for 2 minutes, and test the temperature, and do this and by the time you've done this several times, you don't have to, like at home when you're cooking, you will taste and see whether the salt is enough, because you don't have standard operating procedures. In the factory, on the factory level, you don't need to do that. They are already established. And once you have standard operating food, you are validated, and you know that when you put 5 grams of salt in 1 liter of water, even without tasting it, you know what the end result will be, and everything. And so, and then there's traceability to be talked about in food safety. There's allergen control. And then record keeping. Whatever you're doing, if you don't have records to show, you haven't done it.
Wow. So when they write batch this, batch that,
But
it
means a lot.
if somebody called and said there's an issue with this product and they say it is batch this, you can tell
Yes.
when it was done, who did it,
Yes.
what shift. I mean,
Yes.
is
So
it
when
accurate?
we receive consumer complaints, the first thing we'd like to know is, where did you buy it? The second thing we'd like to know is, what's the best? Can you take a photo of the backside so we know the best before date and the batch number? And the batch number is loaded. It has a whole traceability, system, behind it. And the batch number is supposed to help you trace back to the farm where the raw material came from. And that's how resilient and robust the systems are.
The more you break down the technicalities of it, the more I see there's not some cool football team that you stand up, start jumping.
Not at all. It's a very technical thing, and that's why I'm saying that if you have a good background to it, the way you look at things and the way you do things will be different. And sometimes we don't realize it until the final product is actually showing that, no, this brand is actually different from the rest because of they are not tangibles, but it actually reflects in the final product.
So the persons that work with you, I suspect, are also part of the safety.
Everybody. Safety is everybody's responsibility. If you don't do things right, so my policy is, if you know you're supposed to put 5 grams of this and 1 liter of that, and you don't do it, you know that definitely it's going to affect the final product. Okay. So everybody must be trained. We do refresher courses. You sign, you've been trained. Like, you actually sign that I've been trained. And every now and then you're being monitored to make sure that you are doing the right things, and there's record keeping to show this is what you did, this is what you did. If your temperature of your oven is showing this today, we want you to record it. So if anything happens, we know that, okay, that day we had a power cut. So maybe it was a rework, or there's so much that you can gather from record keeping. And when you're able to successfully do that, you realize that you have a very solid and robust system.
What's next for Akwaaba Fine Foods?
The dream of Akwaaba Fine Foods is a huge and daunting one.
Back to the dream. We're back. We are back.
It's a huge and daunting one. Akwaaba, the dream goes beyond me. It's so big, it's scary.
Give us a glimpse of it. You want it to be in every Tesco, every Morrison's,
I've just simplified it that Akwaaba Fine Foods, we want to get to a place where we will put at least one Ghanaian product, which is branded Akwaaba, in every home in the world.
Yo.
So like you see the Nestle, all the other, big shots, that is where we see Akwaaba. We want to see ourselves in every home in Asia, in every home in America, in every home in the UAE, or in the Arabs. We want to see ourselves in Africa. Why not? Why not? If the other international brands are doing it, what stops a Ghanaian brand?
Have you walked into a shop? Have you walked into a shop and seen your product and felt, at long last, not the end but the beginning?
Oh yes.
Have you had that kind of moment before?
Yes, I've been to shops where we had just supplied, we were just supplying, and the person who was just about walking out of the shop said, finally they are here. So she went to the shop, they had run out, and they were expecting us to supply. As soon as she saw us, she was elated. Wow, and I watched her, and I was like, she didn't know I was the person behind it. I was like, wow, this is heartwarming. And then you go to shops and people are picking and they are discussing, oh, I've tried this is good. I've tried it several times. I just watch and people are picking the products and putting in their shopping baskets. And I'm like, thank you for every purchase. Thank you for keeping us going. Thank you for empowering the people in the entire value chain.
What would be your your counsel to anyone, especially the young women who are listening and saying, wow, it's a beautiful story? When would I also have something to show like this, who are considering careers in the agribusiness, technical and vocational sectors? What would you tell them?
I think agribusiness is the way to go. It's the one thing is common to all humans. We all wake up and we're looking for food to eat, which means that the agribusiness industry will never die. As long as human beings live, food is necessary. And so, yes, agribusiness is the way to go. We've got arable lands to cultivate food. One thing we were lacking was innovative packaging, but now we are evolving. And I see a lot of good packaging, a lot of packaging that sustains the shelf life of products. And I am happy about it. So for the young entrepreneurs who want to venture into agribusiness, yes, it is the way to go because there are endless opportunities. Everybody will eat. And so human beings are looking for new, exciting alternatives all the time to add to what the range they already know.
Would quality, safety, innovation, and packaging be a good summary of this conversation?
If you meet Mildred, I think it should be because I am passionate about these.
And then the icing on the cake or the cap on top of the head is faith in God.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mildred, for making time to join us for this conversation. I'm sure we would love to have another conversation this time, coming to your factory and interacting with the people who support you daily. Make this happen for you on a daily basis, your staff, as well as your clients. I mean, for me, I tell you, this all began not just from my own consumption, but the day in between continents, I realized how far a product can go if the right attention is paid to making it fit for that world-class market. So this is yours to appreciate those who make that happen, the clients as well as your staff.
Hello, Team Akwaaba. A shout out to all of you. Just to say thank you for your dedication, for your hard work. And I want to let you know that your hands are blessed. Whatever you're touching, whatever you're creating is making an impact. People love your products. Whatever you're creating is amazing. Continue your good work. Without you, Akwaaba will not be Akwaaba. I'm here moving from one place to the other and the systems are running and the work is being done. Thank you for your dedication. You are the best. Now to our customers who make Akwaaba what it is as well. Thank you. Without you driving business, there is no Akwaaba. We will process and stock up in our warehouse and nobody will buy. Thank you for every little purchase. Thank you when you're picking from the shops. Thank you for your orders. Every little purchase goes a long way to make an impact in our local communities and in the entire value chain. Thank you, Akwaaba customers.
I guess when you mentioned the local value chain, it just struck me that you are speaking for some farmer in some part of the country who supplies you and whose family or which families are supported by every single, they write those things, things on the packaging. That when you, for everyone you buy, you're supporting the farmer in the community.
In a whole community.
Yes, and making life work for them. A big thank you to you for coming. And let's do this again.
Thank you more for having me here. I really do appreciate it. This is a huge platform and I am most grateful.
Most welcome, Mildred. So this has been a very, very relaxing teacup in hand, Akwaaba cashew. Let me add the peanuts to it. So Akwaaba cashew in my left hand.
Luxury.
And then the Akwaaba dry roasted peanuts in my right hand. And for those of you who are the big shots, show them the luxury pack.
So
for those who are watching on TV, you will see. For those of you, just imagine, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one that it fills my Christmas hampers. This one, especially at Christmas, is a very big thing for the hampers, the luxury pack of Akwaaba. Nicely packaged like anything you see with a safety seal on top of it. Mildred, you are doing something right. May the Lord help you.
Thank you.
And bless you.
Amen.
And increase you.
Amen.
So thank you all for joining us for this very enthralling edition of Springboard Virtual University, brought to you by the Springboard Ratio Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Ghana and the Enterprise Group with media support from the Multimedia Group and our friends at Graphic Communications Group. My name is Mildred Okran, saying God bless you, and God bless you.
Turning point, yeah.